Welcome to Psychic Flow Radio Podcast. I am April Roane, and I am blessed to have you here with me at this time. Please follow us at aprilroane.com. You can find us on Facebook and follow hashtag Spirit Posse. Get comfortable, get situated, because Spirit is about to speak. Before we jump into the forecast for this week, which is April 27th through May 3rd, 2020, I wanted to remind you that all of my readings are on spring special, and they do end the end of this month. And all of my readings, what a lot of people don't understand is so many of my clients are in other states and countries. So they are over the phone. They are over FaceTime, Facebook Messenger, Skype, Spirits Unlimited, everybody. So just wanted to remind you, go over to aprilroane.com and you can go to the readings page, book your reading right there, taking advantage of that savings. And then I want you to listen all the way to the end of this recording, this actual forecast, because I have a special card that I've pulled just for you. Hang tight. Here is your weekly forecast. Oh my gosh, guys, this weekly forecast is pretty interesting. I know some of you have been following these Monday weekly forecast readings for a few weeks now. And there's this little theme unfolding. You know, we've been keeping up with that metaphor of Wayne Dyer's orange. You know, when life squeezes you, what is that juice that comes out? And we're rolling into this week. Last week on Thursday, Sunday, we were talking about some bumps, and then Sunday, some stuff that really came to the surface. And what is interesting is as I go into the week, I don't read astrology. I don't go into, sometimes I don't even know when there is a full or a new moon. But as the week unfolds, I look back at the energy forecast and it's kind of creepy intuitive. So it is neat how it unfolds. And so without further ado, let's follow that theme of the pressure, right? And the squeezing, and roll into the weekly energy forecast for this week, the week of April 27th, 2020 through May 3rd, 2020. So we're going from Aries to Taurus. We're going from April to May. Spring is unfolding, and we are still in the middle of some really interesting unfamiliar energy. There is still this kind of presence in the air, kind of like an extra guest that was invited to the party that you didn't know was on the guest list. So what is that energy that is present right now? What is this extra guest, this special guest that's showing up? Not necessarily a person, but the awareness of something. What is showing up? What has been getting your attention lately? And as we flow into the energy of this week, that pressure is going to continue. And so as we think of the word pressure, I want you to think of just lots of interesting things coming from every angle around you, but all kind of just gently coming in at the same time. It is going to create a little bit of a snug hug. And so as each of us, so this energy forecast doesn't just hit women from the ages of 45 to 49. This energy forecast is for everyone, men, women, adults, children. You know, it is overall. And so that means each of us are going to get those snug hugs. And not each of us like to be hugged. Not each of us like pressure. Not each of us know what to do under pressure. Not each of us were taught how to respond to pressure. What does pressure mean? Some of us do very well under pressure. But what is our own pressures showing us? Just because we do well under pressure doesn't mean that we get to show the world what we're made of and take on everyone, the pressure of everybody. In fact, so many people that are under pressure don't handle things and they leave it for us to handle, or vice versa. Sometimes there are things that we don't want to deal with, and we know if we don't, there are other people that will pick up the slack. And so I love saying this because some people are like, that's not me. Hello. So think about this. Food for thought. We didn't come here to be creatures of, non-awareness. We came here because we are creatures of awareness, and we are creatures of free will and choice. And that is what creates our adventure. So as we're going through this week, what is it that is pressuring you? What does that pressure look like? Is it sleep deprivation? Is it too tired? Is it exhaustion? Is it irritability? Is it depression? Is it sadness? Is it a funk? I've been in a funk. I've been in a little bit of a funk, at 43, and I kind of realized I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. So, we have to understand things are going to squeeze us, but what does that juice look like when we're squeezed? And so as each of us are being squeezed or pressured a little bit, let's identify what's the pressure? What are those pressures? And how is it that we handle the pressure? Are those pressures the financial situation that many of us are finding ourselves in because of what is going on with the pandemic? Is it because of those pressures, they are putting other pressures on other things like relationships? Or, I always look at pressure is always going to bring to the surface what it needs to, or it's going to bring to the surface what needs to be seen. Nothing comes to the light without needing to be seen. So as each of us are going through these pressures, it's highlighting things that we've avoided for a long time anyway. In fact, they wouldn't be pressures if we weren't being squeezed, and we wouldn't feel squeezed if we weren't feeling squeezed. So this stuff that's coming up is important. And so how are we going to respond to a lot of this? Not like we always have, because if we keep responding the way we always have, we're going to keep getting the same things we've always gotten. Also, Wayne Dyer. So it's important to look at what our pressures are this week. It's important to look at how is it that I respond to pressure? Really? How is it that I, April, respond to pressure without judgment? How do you respond? And then let's get that creative energy flowing. How do I want to respond? Really, what is it that this pressure is really telling me? Is it time to be bold in my life? Is it time to finally start making decisions for me? Whose life is it that you're living? All of those pressures are showing up because it is time that you look at the bold being that you are. It is time to unleash your adventurous side. Take risks and be daring. Now, I don't want to see on the news any of you streaking through your streets. April told me to just do it. I'm talking about really entertaining the things that are calling you, not adding pressure. I want you to be pressured, but I want you to look at what is it that's really being said right now? What is it that you need? What are your needs that aren't being met? Clearly, there's a need for better financial system. How many of us haven't been taught how to really handle money? It's funny. Sometimes I talk to other people and, I'm a big girl, I'm an adult, and we talk about finances, and I realize my financial system sucks, and then you look at your parents. My parents didn't know finances. They did one check to one check. My mom was a house mom. She raised us. This is not a time for judgment. It's a time of awareness, and it's a time of rebuilding, shifting. And it's kind of beautiful. Is it just finances? Is this showing you what are some other basic needs? Is it TLC? Do you need some exercise? Do we need to get up? Are you getting up and are your bones stiff? If so, is it that you're being called to stretch a little bit? No one said full-blown yoga, but we also have to understand that we are needing to be real with ourselves this week. We need to be honest. We need to really look at what our pressures are. We got to take inventory. How is it that I am responding to these pressures? Well, hell, I didn't even know that was a pressure that I allowed. Amen for inventory. And then we need to be willing to be creative, to be bold, to be daring. Are we really living the adventure? Or are we complaining about not being on an adventure at all? How many of us constantly want to get off of the ride? This is a big week, guys. And no, is it scary? It's been scary. My goodness. I think it was scary the minute we took our first breath. But that's what an adventure is. Remember, the roller coaster ride isn't flat. It never was meant to be flat. Life was never meant to just ho-hum. There are colors when the basics come together. If you ever look at paint, if you look at colors, when you combine colors, when colors clash, some of the prettiest pictures I've ever seen were where there were oops, or where Bob Ross says, happy accidents. May this week bring you the energy of Freya, the goddess, Freyja, bold. May this week bring you the awareness, the willingness. May your affirmation be, give me the willingness to be willing. I want to be willing to see my pressures. I want to be willing to be courageous and brave to see the flipping pressures I allow on a daily basis. Give me the willingness to be willing to see how I respond to pressure in a loving and non-judgmental way, because some of us are going to see that we respond in a not so great way. We actually respond in ways that hurt us. Some of us are going to see that we respond in the very same ways that we were taught. And then I say this week, give us the willingness to be willing to tap into that energy of Freya, to tap into our boldness. Oh my God. I think that's what scares us the most. Not that we can't be powerful, but that we are. Ooh, let that sink in. Yes. Do you mean you are bigger and bolder than your pressures? Yes. You are bigger and bolder than the very things that you allowed to define your state of being. That means those things that pressure you don't technically have to pressure you at all. Life is an adventure. It is the adventure. Every breath is the ability to hang on and go for the ride. I wish that you guys take little risks this week. Cautionary risks. I hope that you are daring even in your pursuit of happiness. May you be daring in your awareness. It's kind of big stuff, kind of good stuff, kind of clear stuff, kind of weekly energy forecast stuff for this week. All right, Spirit Posse. I hope and ask that you continue to breathe even on the toilet. 3 breaths in. Let's share a breath. We always do on each podcast. Take a breath in with me together. There's your adventure. Hold that breath. What is it while you're holding that breath that you focus on? Open your mouth. Exhale. Do you know focus is also part of the adventure? How many of us focus on breathing at all? Take another breath in. Breathe in with me. Ooh, hold that breath. Let your body sink and settle where it needs to. Let your awareness sink and settle where it needs to. Open your mouth and let go of what's left over. Ooh, new awareness. Take a final breath in. Breathe in the journey. Hold that breath in your being. Allow your being to be what is as is, because you're pretty amazing. Open your mouth and let the shit go. Let it go. Let it flow. That is the adventure. All right, guys, I love you. I think you're pretty amazing. I know that things are going to be shifting. They already are shifting. It may seem bad, feel bad, look scary, look gloomy. It's not. Things are actually breaking and clearing. This is what happens this is what starts to plant those seeds. Those seeds start to grow. They become things. So, maybe when the stuff is shifting and the storm is blowing, it's because we're being replanted. Cut those old roots off and be daring enough to give yourself new foliage. All right. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Remember, be safe, soothed, anchored, free, and eased. Bye-bye. Here is your extra special bonus card for this week. It is the card from the Doreen Virtue Goddess deck, and the goddess is Hathor, Hathor. So write that down. I want you to Pinterest her this week, Google her, research her, right? So as we're going through this week, calling on Hathor for extra insight, extra energy, extra support. And the card message is receptivity. Allow yourself to receive. This will increase your intuition, energy, and ability to give to others. So my teachers, healers, intuitives, this is important. Those on the front lines, you cannot fill from an empty cup. So this is going to be even more of an important message for you to piggyback off the forecast. With this pressure, with this awareness of what my pressures are, how do I respond to pressure? What are my bold and daring opportunities? And am I open to receive? That's a big humma-dinga, because if you're not even open to receive, how are you going to get anything you came here to get? All right, guys, you now have lots of food for thought. This is a creative, really big week in this unfolding, and I gotta go back to my paintings. All right, I love you. Go visit me on Instagram at The Soul Flow Creative. All right, guys, bye. As always, thank you for allowing me to be a part of your world. And I welcome you and invite you to be a part of mine. Visit me at aprilroane.com or breathewithapril.com and allow me to continue to inspire your journey one step at a time. And technically, to my Spirit Posse members, remember, we are lifting humanity one heart at a time. Today, may this heart be yours.